Very good. You are the making sure.
Right.
Sugar.
Whether or not we exist, I'm actually not gonna stand up for it. I still have it. Just raised all my kids in.
I know that.
Yeah. Someone. Fortunately, all of our mine have yeah.
Traveling a lot.
I love that. It is. Yeah, the second of all, never done that. Okay. Hi. Hi. Yeah. Hi. Oh.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Saying that's the second one.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, otherwise you're so needy.
She's excited. Come check out the room, make sure it's safe for everybody. Right towards the snacks. Good going up there. I feel like I would have detected those.
Chocolate. All you guys figured out. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you hadn't been nice to see you.
Oh, man, they didn't tell me you're gonna be here, man. Oh, I know me.
No. Take time. Normal business hours.
Okay.
For a heck but yeah. That's even mostly, that's more extra. But actually last year, the service. I'm telling you, it's like.
Yeah.
Over here.
Thank you so much.
I brought Sandy.
You'll find a list of here. Where it is. Yes, there you go. Sign in.
How are you guys? The Keller brought snacks over, but I was cleaning the. Oh. And you got lemon. Yeah. Next to the snack.
Do you know what it is? Program. Thank you. I haven't had her handler, yeah, we're beginning on.
Did the Army Corps of Engineers download mine?
Excited.
I'm gonna say about the one.
She's 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's a girl. The German short.
Okay, then, yes,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
When I got
Very
this,
excited. She loves people.
yes, it should have. She got it, I have it on mine.
She does, she just.
That's my
She's trained to take the order of heroin. Thank you very much.
You have everything for company, so.
So in Cornell, we have 2 right now, and Kilo, there are 2 in the house.
Well, they come with on their lunch.
Keep it down there. She really likes you. So. One of the best stuff you can watch on yeah, that's what I'm. So, yeah, they're saying. Yeah. Probably.
You get out of it. Yes.
Back here.
Yeah, so if you put it on, I never even like, but if you think about it, yeah. Macro, right, like, there is a figure. So yes, yeah, you're, that way you're getting up these zone. That's what it's. It's like a hospital. Yeah. She's still. Yeah. Three years ago. Yeah, so I had it at my house instead, so.
You do the same disclaimer that I thought. I think that's it. I'm just saying. I get. I'm so many friends today. Yeah. Okay.
Like, everyone's really serious.
And so,
That's a lot of excitement. It's supposed to be like, yeah, them to our discover. And then. Oh, yeah, I love food. Oh, that's a lot.
She's, you know, like her jumping out. On the office, it's okay. Sometimes it's required that you search. Try not to deliver. Always have to have.
Exciting.
Yeah. 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 What's up to 6 months?
Yeah, I got to know that. Yes.
Yeah, you can say that.
She's gonna be here?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about the table being here, speaker being here, all you're gonna see is this. Because no matter what, it's a 360 camera.
Right.
So the thing you
Yeah.
can do to solve it is put this here. Yeah?
Let's do that.
Okay. We're gonna push this table over there. But before I do that, I'm gonna take this off. Right here, so that when I move the table, it doesn't accidentally fall off, because that has happened. We're just gonna go right here in this aisle, so I'm gonna pick up this end and. You go that way. Just like stick it in the aisle so that the camera can be in front of the podium. People wanna come sit in the front, they gotta come around the front. You wanna come this way and then I'll push it back just a little bit. That's good. Okay, so then. Now the out just looks short. As I watch this. Don't get seasick. That's over there. Is that like about the middle of the? Yeah. Thing. And this person's speaking, right? This is the speaker. Yeah, it's the speaker. So I usually leave this up here. Great. Because then yeah, because I have the audio working for this one, but not. So leave this here. And then. You probably don't need that. That'll be some Jane. Okay. And then. How are you? Cool, make it go.
Sorry,
Yes, like the rest of the house. Yeah. It's fine, yeah, it goes between the speaker and the audience, but it was trying to like, we had like. Pictures of harness, so it's trying to like, so the thing is, if I set it to, speaker. It's only gonna be on speaker, and I won't see the rest of them. I can do the 360 panel.
We done it first.
You know what I mean?
As soon as we got beyond the screws out there.
What's doing balance on? That's auto, wherever you'd like, that auto phone. So actually, if I push this a tiny bit. Yeah. Yeah. I know what it is. I talk, I say like, hi, welcome. Hi, welcome. What is it doing? It is not going to be, it is coming, so it's just still staring at you.
So I told all of
Hi,
them.
welcome. We'll have to go. Right,
You
yes,
come
we'll
out,
have to-
gotta go
well,
out.
They can hear in the audio.
Beyond
Okay, so-
the first red
okay,
door.
so we'll hook this guy up. Step down to the bottom.
Then they go.
Yes, okay, that is max.
Better get inside.
Yes, no, Max works sometimes. Yeah, right, yes, yeah. I'm just telling you. Yes, okay, perfect, thank you. I was gonna be like, yes, they are, but it's not. Compliments to think that- Yeah, that'll be good, because it's still the people on the roof. Yes. For our, yeah, perfect.
They got inside. Big sample.
And then these are good to go when we
Yeah,
need
so
them?
you just press and hold until the green light.
No, I don't think that was one of us.
Thank you just up and down. All right, thanks, I know. Testing, testing. 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 Okay, that works. Testing. Yeah. That one, on the side. Yeah. As a, on that first, that's one. Yeah. Alright, and so. It's still so easy, right? Practice because. Problem with using this and your voice is going in here and the speaker is loud out in your. So I can make it focus on things.
Terry skipped off.
You know that. Yeah, fantastic. I'm gonna. Oh, this one's mine.
I know, we.
Have to exit. I was just where I could, you know. Okay, I check. I know. Oh, yeah, your phone. So. I do have the meeting calendar back. And I have Jerry notes. Yeah. So that's all safer. And I guess it's like. So. Oh, no, no.
Like, take a question, like, oh, put it on back on the- as you're right. Right.
Yeah, so as.
Just need to figure out where.
Center.
Right, there you go. Right, come on.
Because once I have.
All right, I'll just do that.
Thank you. Sure, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Oh, I keep it up.
Okay, so probably.
Oh, so far, so good. It's fine.
Be like, I'm a little, feel great.
Has to be.
I know.
And Robert will do. Oh, great. Oh, in our. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for having me. Right now. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
It's little building in
Next to the studio.
It's actually not me there, I love it, feel good. The sea, and no, there's an airplane.
Yeah, that's my girl.
It's in positive. Know what we had in front donated and then. So I do. We're to decide. We have a lot of different.
Thank you.
Diane.
And they had a gang. I was the only one. I felt like that. Yeah. Been there before.
Not really, but I kind of. Well. Yeah, so maybe completely honest, that we operate. Like, I recognize your bias. Yes, I'm all mission.
Yeah, what? No, I'm not loving this pie. Move your hair. That switch, yeah.
The silver one?
Really?
Yeah, right.
Oh, this one, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Come on in and let's find seats so we can get started. We have a really packed agenda tonight. Lots of great information, so we want to be swift. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I'm Nancy Carr-Smith. I'm the president of the Waimea Community Association. I'd like to introduce the rest of the board. If you could just raise your hand. Lonnie Olson-Chong is vice president. Victor Tom is our treasurer. Michaela Bruno over the computer is our secretary. We have directors Riley Smith, Ryan Ushijima, Hannah Bree, Mary Beth Lachek, David Greenwell. I think that's it. Did I say everybody? Patty's not here tonight. She's not feeling well, and Chris will be along. All right, welcome. Thank you. We want to mahalo Keck Observatories for allowing us to be here and providing this perfect space for our community association meetings. Shelley is going to share some housekeeping items.
Aloha, my name is Shelley. Welcome to Keck Observatory. We're so glad to welcome you here this evening. We love opening this space up for community, and Nancy's been great to work with, along with the whole rest of her team. So as far as housekeeping goes for our conference room, this is called Jerry Nelson Conference Room. He's the guy that discovered the whole hexagon mirror segments fitting together to make one big mirror. So he's awesome. Our restrooms are on the other side of that wall. So if you walk out this door, make a U-turn, and it's all the way down there, men's and women's. You can come back a big U-turn, or you can come in that door. It'll remain open all night. Speaking of that door being open, that is one of the exits, fire exits, just in case something happens. There's two in this room, one located on your left and one on your right. Please look around you and find the exit closest to you. Nancy's team has also brought some lovely snacks, so they're right over here. There's trash cans on both sides of the rooms. Anything else? That's it. Have a fabulous meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Shelley. All right, can you hear me? I feel like it's a little, yeah, okay.
Good.
All right, we're streaming live on our WCA Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel, which can be found on our website, waimeatown.org. This recording will be made available later for viewing, and thank you to those who could be here in person. If you haven't already done so, we encourage you to become a member of WCA. You can do this by seeing Riley at the front desk. You can join on our website, or you can mail a check to the address on the back of the agenda. $20 for individuals and $30 for a family. And this just helps us maintain operations. So we appreciate your support. Beware of timer. Tonight, Lonnie Olson-Chong will be the timer. So presenters need to keep an eye on Lonnie, and Lonnie doesn't mess around. So we know that we'll be on track here. And we do pride ourselves on staying on track so that we don't keep you here longer than we told you that we would. So thank you for that. Okay, thank you to our IT crew, Michaela, Mary Beth, and Max from, Keck here. It was nice of you to step in to help us putting out this, invite again this month. We're looking for an IT person to help our board members. So if you know of anyone that wants to cook for the community, doesn't have to be every month, but if you want to do a couple months a year, or you know someone, please let one of us know. We would love to help. Thank you. All right, tonight we're foregoing community announcements, but we've encouraged community members to bring flyers of their upcoming event. I did want to just ask, does anybody care that we're foregoing community announcements? Anybody, like, I really like the community announcements? You really like them? Okay, you don't like the people. Anybody else? Okay, that's okay, you don't, yeah, it's already late. Okay, all right, well, when our agenda allows, we will do that, okay? But I do want you to know what's over there. So obviously it's Cherry Blossom Weekend, so we had some flyers made with the map, but there's also the nice ones. Who brought those? Oh, thank you. Wasn't expecting them, so I had these made, but thank you, James. Kahilu has a card over there with all of their events up to June. Tutu's house has all kinds of things going on, so there might be something here that interests you. And I just saw the South Kohala Police is having a Valentine's craft event at Parker Ranch Center, so that's cool. So all these can be found over here, along with our nonprofit brought, Let Waimea Change You. And so that is over there, as well as some legislative things from last month's meeting too. Okay? All right. For opening Pule, we love the tradition of honoring and respecting the various faith-based groups in our community. And tonight we have Father David here from St. James, and we always love having Father David here. So thank you very much for being here.
Aloha.
Aloha.
I see you all. Let's just pause for a moment in prayer. Pray for our world, we pray for our nation, pray for all in need of our prayers. Certainly pray for the Bertleman Ohana as we commend Clay's soul to God this weekend, and we pray for all helping and working for the Cherry Blossom Festival, those who will visit our town. Pray for your grace. We pray for this night, we pray for this community gathered for the beloved Waimea we love. We pray for all gathered here, those joining us online, and we give thanks for the shared desire, our shared desire to care well for the place we call home. As we enter this evening, we ask as we share in conversation and decision-making that you grant us wisdom, O Lord, that you grant us patience, and where it's needed, you grant us courage in the decisions that may need to be made with honesty and care. We hold before you all who serve the public good, our elected leaders, our first responders, our law enforcement, all who work in our community to keep us safe. Give them clarity of judgment and steadiness of heart. And we pray for all of us here tonight that we listen well to one another. We listen to your mana, to your spirit to guide and lead us, to hear the needs of our neighbors and that deeper call to seek the common good. May all we say and all we do tonight be guided by respect and wisdom and a shared love for this community. In God's holy name we pray. Amen. I've got to slip away. We've got the community meal going on. So good meeting and I'll see you later.
Thank you so much, Father David. Perfect, Kool-Aid. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move right into our nonprofit spotlight tonight, which is Waimea Preservation Association. We'll be passing the baskets near the end of the presentation so that you can donate toward this cause, if you so choose. WPA is a community-based nonprofit who dedicates itself to preserving Waimea's heritage. And with us tonight or several of the WPA members, and they'll share with us their latest projects. We're going right into you. Okay, Bill said he was gonna introduce you, but I will introduce, this is Pete Hendricks, WPA. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. Which slide?
First slide.
Thank you very much for inviting us to participate tonight. We've been around for a long time. It started out with Waimea Main Street. Some of us remember Tom Hudson coming and getting everybody riled up and really interested in the town and what was the future. And this was a program that was funded by the federal government with adequate funding at the time. Unfortunately, we didn't quite qualify for Main Street, but there were several different organizations which kind of bloomed after that. One of them being Iowa Preservation and the other one being Waimea Preservation Association. And our motto, we're a 501c3. And before I forget, I want to say that we have a couple of other volunteers. This is an all volunteer army. Bill Sanborn, Becky Winters, and Robert Stout. And our mantra is heritage, community, prosperity. So respecting the past, but having an important input to a healthy economy and a healthy community. We have the next slide. We're located at the Little Preservation Building, which was built in 1921 and was the territorial tax office and later the sheriff's office. And when hospice came to us in 1979, the addition in the back was created. And later we spent about 4.5 years restoring the place. And some of the other projects that preservation has been involved with early on are Spencer House restoration, Real Beef for Real Cowboys, and the sandwich board fight years ago when Peter Young was the president of Waimea Community Association. There was a proliferation of sandwich boards and signs, so there was a campaign to do something about it. And we have digitized all those signs and they will be available on our website. Another one is building photos, which Glenn Lamb and Frank Snow and a couple other people participated in 1973. So we have a record of the buildings in Waimea that are going to go on our website very shortly. And not to forget our lake project, thanks to one of our members, and I've got to compliment Becky Winters. The idea of a heritage center, that would be electronic. It would be an index of all the things we want, and it would be on our website. So that's in progress. And if we have the next slide. A shot of Minukioli bullpen. And Minukioli is named after Coco Lindsay, who could rope a cow in less than a minute. And this was in the era of Ikua Purdy and the world champions who went to Cheyenne, Wyoming. And this is a 10-acre piece of property owned by Parker Ranch, leased for 55 years, 99 years to the YMCA, and volunteers have been caring for the place for 25 years. And one of the volunteers, I have to compliment Wayne Kamitaki from YMCA. He's one of the elders. He owns the Ace Hardware stores on the island. And he has his folks come up every couple of weeks and mow the whole place. And I know how long it takes to mow it because Bill Sanborn and I used to mow it, and it takes about 3 hours. Our most important project probably is the acquisition of Minukioli Park, the 10 acres under the PONC, Public Open Space and Natural Resources program, and that's 2% of your tax dollars, property tax dollars. And that money is used to purchase appropriate places for the public. And we have applied 2 years ago in January of 2024 under this program. And resolution 12025, May 7th, 2024 was approved by the council. Unfortunately, they didn't rank the 9 applications. They just dumped everything into one resolution. So that is still in process, and we're hoping that the community will support us for this real center of Waimea. And in the foreground there in the picture is the 100th anniversary Rotary Pavilion, which is open to the public. And this is a very important cultural and recreational area and an open space. And it could easily be the center of the future town. If you want to get away from the intersection and the busyness, just go back behind Parker Ranch Shopping Center. Next slide. Okay, we'll end with this one. We have partnered with the Hawaiian Civic Club and Royal Order of Kamehameha to restore the whole east-west wall on the border between Park Ranch Shopping Center and Metafioli Park. And we'd like to continue that all the way to Picorani. And we have a couple of handouts over there. I'll remind you again, please pick up one and come join us. We'll have open house all morning at Cherry Blossom Festival. And if you're tall enough, you could play chess on the big 2-foot high board pieces. So Lonnie's gonna hit me on the head, so thank you very much.
Awesome. All right. Ryan and Victor are passing the basket. And meanwhile, we're gonna move right along. Our board member, David Greenwell, is gonna facilitate the rest of the meeting and introduce our speakers. As noted on the agenda, we'll have Q&A after the presenters. So when that happens, I'll be going around along with somebody else, and just please remember that we're gonna hold the mic and we're gonna encourage you to ask questions, not make comments. Okay, so when we get to that, appreciate your consideration. Meanwhile, thank you, David. Raise this up. Is that okay?
Good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce Hawaii County Police update for Waimea Station, Captain Roy Valera, along with Policing Officer Justin Valentine. Welcome you back to give us an update on what's going on in our district. And you gentlemen have 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
That's all, just 10. Aloha. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our community police officer, Justin Kavanting, to share with you some crime and traffic information.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Just some quick announcements. So my newsletter did go out. I know some of you told me as I was walking in that you got it. So it did go out. If you're interested, I do have a sign-up sheet over here along with other flyers. If you guys are interested to sign up. We are doing a South Koala Hearts and Badges Valentine's craft event with the kids in lieu of Coffee with a Cop for February. That's going to be next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock at Parker Ranch Center. We're partnering with them again because our Sugar Showdown, the gingerbread house contest was such a hit. So we're going to try Valentine's Day crafting. So if you guys want to get glitter all over yourself, come on down. Okay. As far as the crime report for South Koala, we did have 9 assaults, 1 burglary, and 10 criminal property damage investigations initiated. We did have 19 thefts. 1 car got stolen and 4 was broken into. So that is the crime in a nutshell for January. For traffic, our South Koala police officers issued 403 citations. We didn't have any fatalities on our roadways. We did have one child restraint citation issued. The highest for Waimea was speeding with 67 citations and regulatory 180 citations. We did have 6 major traffic collisions in our district. And the officers responded to 46 reckless driver calls in January alone. So again, we encourage everybody to just take your time, leave early, be patient, and don't rush. But I will turn it over back to the captain because we only have 7 minutes left.
You make like I need more than 7. A couple of announcements coming up. You know, we've talked about the Waimea Cherry Blossom, Waimea Cherry Blossom Heritage Festival coming up this Saturday, the 7th from 9 to 3. Many festivities are at Church Row in Waimea, but we have many different venues all over town. And when we have large community events like this, what comes with it? Very good, traffic. So if you are commuting through Waimea town on Saturday, please anticipate delays and allow extra time for commuting. Then the next day, somebody was saying that there's some kind of a game or something on Sunday. We do want to remind you, if you're celebrating Super Bowl, Super Bowl is on Sunday, Super Bowl. If you are celebrating and watching your favorite team on Sunday, please remember to, and if you're going to indulge in some beverages, ensure that you have or make arrangements for a designated driver. You know, we want to keep our roadways safe. And in saying that, you know, as parents, we like to provide the latest and greatest toys to our kids, things that we didn't have ourselves. And there's a lot of e-bikes and e-scooters and e-motorcycles and all these e-devices out now. But as parents, I think we need to also let our children know how to operate this safely, when to operate it, where to operate it. So if you know anyone who have or kids that have these devices, make sure that they know that they shouldn't be riding on the road. They have to be older than 15 years old. The different sizes of motors or power in the vehicles have different restrictions. And you know, the focus for the police department is to keep our roadways safe for everybody. Not only the kids that are operating these devices, but motorists and pedestrians alike. So please have a talk with your kids in regards to that. I also did want to mention that on February 14th, that's a big day. So if you haven't already placed your orders for the things that you need to order for the loved one that you need to honor on that day, this would be a good time to consider that, okay? February 14th, Valentine's Day. And for such a short month, there's so much going on, you know? February 17th, Tuesday, that's also Chinese New Year. It's also Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. So if you enjoy those Portuguese poleless donuts called malasadas, that's Malasada Day, February 17th. And then we're gonna wrap it up with February 21st, Saturday, down in Waikoloa Village, we have the Hulu Holo Holo evacuation route practice. So if you live in the village, or if you'd like to come down and check it out, it's at the end of Hulu Street. This is in coordination with Hawaii County Civil Defense and our CERT team members. We'll be down there from 9 to 11 on Saturday, February 21. And with that, I still have another, 25 minutes? No. Thank you very much, everybody. Be safe.
Next up, we'd like to welcome Hawaii Police Department Vice Division Captain Ed Buyten. And with him will be Lieutenant Erich Jackson, who are joined by Kainan Kim and her handler, Kyle Murray. The Vice Division will be highlighting their success in narcotics enforcement efforts and importance of community engagement. Please welcome them. They will have 5 minutes to question and answers after this. Please.
I'm gonna beat Roy. Aloha. Aloha. Hey, thank you for having us up here, and any chance we get to come to Waimea, at least for me, it's an honor. I love Waimea. I grew up in Hawaii. My wife and I would come up here all the time. So thank you so much for having us. And before I get started, I always do this any opportunity I have to do public speaking. This is my 24th year in policing for the Hawaii Police Department. And I've had a great career. And the reason I've had a great career, and I always point it out, is because of my beautiful wife.
Yay.
She held it down at home. She took care of the kids. She takes care of me. We've been married for 32 years and I always say thank you. So please help me say thank you. And tonight's date night, so we're going to dinner after this. But I'm Captain Ed Buyten. I'm raised in Kona. Like I said, I've been with the police department for 24 years. And I do have the honor of being the first vice narcotics captain for the Hawaii Police Department. A little bit of history behind that is historically, we had vice sections, so narcotic sections. We had a East Hawaii or Area 1 Command, and we had a West Hawaii Area 2 Command. And they operated under the umbrella of their own commands. Now, they did talk to each other and they did business, a little analog, back in the day. And to fast forward a little bit, there was a vision by Chief Mahuna and the past chief to centralize the narcotics division into one unified, centralized operational unit. And we kicked that ball in February of 2025, and it has been a success. And the reason for that is the communication, the actionable intelligence that we can move on without having to work with two separate commands. And I would hope that you're proud that the men and women of the Vice Division had a very successful year. And I will share some of the pictures and some of the data for you, just real brief. But what I do want you to know is that everything that you see in these pictures came from this island. They were recovered here, and the officers, Lieutenant Erich Jackson, who commands the west side. So if you ever need assistance out this way. And of course, in the back here, we have Officer Kyle Murray and his partner, K9 Kim. The star of the show. Can I change or do I get to do the next slide thing? Next slide, please. So in 2025, our division served 427 warrants. Those are search warrants. If you ever had to write a search warrant, you know it's very difficult. 14 Paris warrants, 297 arrest warrants, 1,146 offenses were charged. Those are covered offenses that involved the illegal distribution of dangerous drugs and firearms. So very successful. Next slide, please. So a variety pack of drugs. I won't go down the whole list here, but methamphetamine is the ruler on the island. And of course, cocaine, heroin, crack, ketamine, fentanyl, on down. So anything that's illegal, that's our mission to go out and rid that from our community. Next slide, please. 75.3 grams of methamphetamine. Pounds, I'm sorry. I used to operate in grams, now we're in pounds. That's a lot. That is substantial, and I'll tell you why, because the average dose or use is 1/10 of a gram. So I'm not going to dazzle you with my Kona wine and math, but that is a lot of methamphetamine. Next slide, please. Basically 20 pounds of cocaine. That is a substantial increase in cocaine recovery here. And we wanted to put this one picture in here. If you can see it, it's on my bottom left. It's got a stamp on it. It says NBA on it. It's got some red cellophane. That is 1 kilogram of cocaine, and that is direct from the cartel. So that cocaine made it from Mexico over the border onto Hawaii Island. Very proud of that seizure and what came with that, because we put a stop to that hitting the streets out here. And next slide, please. 5.4 grams of heroin, crack, and ketamine. We've seen a decrease in heroin. We used to see quite a bit back in the day, and it seems to slow down a little bit. Next slide. Fentanyl, 550 pills. It's actually not grams there, it's supposed to be 1.7 kilograms. Yeah, so a little typo there, but that is a lot of fentanyl. A lot. Now from 21 to 24, it's not something we're proud of, but we got after the fentanyl epidemic. And we were responsible for over 60% of the fentanyl recovered in the state of Hawaii. And I liken that to our operational tempo. Our whole mindset when it came to fentanyl was, we're coming after you. It's deadly, and it didn't matter to us if it was a gram, an ounce, or a pound. We were coming, and we're going to put a stop to it. And thus the 60% was a success rate on that. Next slide, please. Marijuana, substantial amount of marijuana, processed marijuana, which we seized from illegal, what we call mills or processing sites. You know, and there's always this debate on marijuana. And what I'm going to point out is this. People with ill intent that want to have a criminal enterprise will process and sell illegal marijuana for a return in cash funds to continue their criminal enterprise, meaning they're going to buy methamphetamine, or they're going to buy firearms, and they're going to redirect that back into the community. We've even seen it, and I won't go down too far, where that money was funded to internet crimes against children, stuff like that. So we like to point that out. And we received over just about 1,000 pounds of illegal marijuana last year. Next slide. So some things that we encountered during the execution of our search warrants is some people think they're chemists and they start mixing dangerous chemicals together, and our officers get exposed to that. When they make entry, they can get burnt or they inhale it, which becomes a hazardous issue for us. So these ones are just a few photographs of some very dangerous chemicals we came across, and we actually had to call in the FBI to come help us remove this from this location. So it's happening right here in our community, right next door. Next slide. So this is the scary part. And, Chief's sitting back here right now, and we had an officer shot in Hilo last March. He's recovering nicely, and he's part of the vice team, and he's chomping at to get back to work, but he was wounded by a illegal firearm right here in our community, and we take that serious. So we seized over 73 illegal firearms last year. That's substantial. I want to say per capita or data-wise, it's the most in the state of Hawaii. So I saw a funny post where someone said only 1,800 rounds. Well, it only takes one to hurt somebody or take somebody's life. So we're very proud of that. Next slide. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. And that's why I want to put these pictures so you can see what's coming out of your community. So $424,720 in cash of illegal proceeds that we seized last year. We handle that case, we send it over to the prosecutors and the attorney generals, and they do the rest from there. What I didn't add in there is our non-cash assets. So folks that use cars or other items to move these drugs around our community, we seize that stuff too, and then redirect it back into the state or the county. Next slide. So this was an IED that we experienced. It was a booby trap over in Puna, where a gentleman, again, probably the chemist, set up a booby trap. So when we made entry, we could have been exposed to an explosive. Luckily, our officers are sharp and they saw the danger, and we pulled out and called in the bomb squad. And it was highly explosive. They had to take it to Puapaloa to eliminate it. So I don't think any of our spouses or our community members want us to be exposed to explosive, right? And that's not the call the chief wants to receive either. Next slide. So I have a slide in here talking about internet crimes. Recently, what we've done is we've taken on the responsibility of what we refer to is ICAC, or internet crimes against children. This is sexual exploitation of juveniles, and it's heinous. And we handle the tier 1 level, which is the most heinous of them all. And last year, we dealt with over 35 warrants that we served and effected various arrests around the islands. And it's something new for us, but when you ask yourself, why is the Vice Narcotics Division handling that? Well, one is, we're very good with digital evidence. We have some subject matter experts that handle this very well. And I don't say this lightly, but I'm raised in Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii. And what's the first thing they teach you? Is to protect our children. So we're honored when we get the opportunity to shut one of these down and put the bad person in jail. Right? No one wants to see what we have to see when it comes to that. Next slide. So I got a nice mission statement in here, but this is the promise I'm going to make you is the Vice Division is committed to our community. We're local cops, we're county cops. Our entire mission is simple, to rid our community of dangerous drugs. And every day we get up and we plan to do that. And just this morning, the lieutenant and his crew were out in Ocean View, and they got more illegal drugs. They got heroin, methamphetamine, and here we are tonight. And a gun. Yeah, 2 illegal guns in the hands of a convicted felon. That's it. 3 minutes. 3 more minutes. Well, that's on Powell. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any questions for us? Because I think we have a couple minutes as we're slotted for it. Feel free to ask. Yes, sir.
Let's see about questions. Wait, hold on. And forgive me for not welcoming our new police chief, Reed Mahona. Thank you for being here and congratulations.
I just wanted to ask if you guys get involved with other explosives and things like illegal fireworks.
Absolutely. With the tragedy in Oahu last year, and illegal fireworks is an enterprise. And I know that the federal government did a investigation recently where they seized over $1 million worth of illegal fireworks in KL. So we do share that intelligence with our partners, and we do go after them when we get the opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question here. It's from Patty's at home watching online. She's not feeling well. She wondered what happens to the $400,000 plus that's confiscated in drug rates, the cash itself.
Generally, hello, I get to talk finally. My captain's so good, I don't need to, but what happens is when we seize the money, it goes to the prosecutor's office. And there's a bunch of court paper needs to be done with that, but then it gets put into a statewide pool. And every county gets money from that pool. So it all gets conglomerated into one pool, one area, and then they basically give it out to the different counties.
Thank you. Elaine,
Got one question here.
go ahead.
When you guys go on these search warrants, does police department provide personal protective equipment like full face respirators and stuff like that? I was just wondering if the county would be amicable with providing that to you guys.
Actually, a lot of our officers are certified with SCBA's. We do have that equipment. We do take that equipment. The county supplies us all of our gear that we're wearing. We actually have raid kits, which they also provide for us, to make it safer for our officers. So yes, they do.
Elaine?
What happens to all the drugs?
Oh, thanks. So essentially, the drugs are evidence. And we send them over to our specialists to test them and get weights and measurements on them for the court proceedings. Because that's part of the investigation. And then eventually, once that's adjudicated or done in court, we destroy them later on.
So you have a question? That was your
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
One question.
Is this spread out over the island, or how much is Waimea involved in this? Is there areas that are more prone to all of this?
That's a big question.
That's a very good question. With the way the highway system's set up here, I worked, just so you guys know a little bit of history about me, I worked up here for almost 6.5 years as a sergeant out here on the road. To get from the east to the west side, there's two ways to get through, right? You go through DKI or you come to beautiful, you come to the coast. So yes, there are drugs coming through here that I'm not gonna tell you there isn't. How we can quantify that, how we know how much, we don't know, but main highways do come through this beautiful district out here. So yes, they do come through.
Maybe a follow-up question. Is there any metrics for East and West Hawaii as far as drugs seized?
I will tell you, I'm sure there is, but with the formula of our division, we don't like dividing anything up. We're one family, we're one group, and that's the way we like to approach it. And I'm thankful to be part of it because it's a wonderful thing. It's great to be a part of, and it's part of history here.
I really hate to ask this question.
Send it. Got you.
How much of the drugs are confiscated from schools?
You can.
I'm glad you asked that question. That is an outstanding question. We take the schools very seriously, and we work with our community policing partners to gather intelligence all the time. And I know the chief heard me in the last commander's meeting a couple times ago. I was really upset about a seizure that we had made, and the subject of that investigation was released pending investigation, which upset us. We try not to get involved in it, but what I'm getting at is we gathered intelligence and we were tracking some information about vapes that contained illegal THC and pre-rolled marijuana cigarettes. Now, we seized this box and it was well over 50 pounds. And we later learned, and I won't go down the rabbit hole on what we know, but we were told by a very young person that they purchased that box from the mainland. They had it illegally shipped here and it was around $4,000, and it was destined for the schools. And they looked to make around, was it 30?
Yes.
Right around $30,000 in profit. So that's capitalizing on our youth with an illegal substance such as marijuana. But we've seen other drugs come out of schools, but we work real hard to make sure we stop that right away.
Our stop sign is
All
up,
right.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll be introducing our two. Next, we'll be introducing our two council members from District 1 and District 9. This will be the last time this year that our council members provide updates due to the fact that this is an election year. They have some great topics to share with you. So please help me welcome Councilwoman Heather Kimball and Councilman James Eustace. They'll have 10.
Aloha kako. Hard to follow our men and women in blue. I want to thank them for their service in the community. Really outstanding work. Just going to provide a few updates here. My name is James Eustace, your council representative for District 9. I wanted to talk about a couple different things here. Just go down the list on a couple of them quickly, and then some of them will lead into what Councilmember Kimball is going to talk about, some specifics on some legislation. We'll touch just very high level on the kind of legislative process. Some recent legislation over the last maybe 5-6 months that we've talked about, approved to move forward. Some things that are very active in legislation right now. Just a high level review of what we've been doing with the general plan, our county budget, which is upcoming, and then some other things that are down the line. So just a frame of reference, this is District 9, representing both the North and South Quality communities for the most part. Councilmember Kimball and I share parts of Waimea on the east side of Waimea, so there is a dividing line area, but we both represent the greater Waimea area together. And of course, my team, you all might know Kendra Bruno, she's in our Waimea office, she's here this evening, and she holds down the fort in the Waimea office, right outside, right in Parker Square. Elwin on the far side is my legislative assistant in our Hilo office. Collectively, we all represent you. These are your 9 council members across the county, across the island. Each of us elected to represent different districts, but we all represent every individual, every resident on the island here. Just a broad overview of our county legislative process. This is what we go through as legislators at the county level, a little bit different than at the state side of things, what they do. But we all go through a drafting phase where we work with community members, we work with administrative departments on moving legislation forward, bringing ideas from community into the process. All legislation is introduced by council members. So anything that is produced within the county for law purposes and ordinance within the code, council members have to introduce it, or on behalf of the administration. We go through a regular process of open forum meetings under the Sunshine Law with committee hearings, followed by council meetings if those pieces of legislation move forward in a positive manner. Then there's always the mayoral review, whether there's an approval or a veto of that. And then things move forward, whether into code or they can even move into the charter and all our guiding documents at the county. Now, a lot of this process, particularly within the committee and council hearings, these are open forums. This is an opportunity for community members to testify on legislation, provide your mana'o on things that are going to be impacting community one way or another. We also have to hear positive support, but it's always good to hear things that could be tweaked or changed. That's going to really help community moving forward. I won't go into all the specifics on these because these are things I've probably heard me talk about in the past about some of this recent legislation that's been moved forward to a certain level. These are just a variety of different things that we talk about and touch on that impact community at different levels, from henneries on residential properties that Councilmember Kimball brought forward. We also had Bill 83, which is a prohibition on single-use plastics within our foodware and serviceware industry. And other discussions, Bill 96 is one that I brought forward on our Veterans Advisory Committee, kind of broadening that perspective, allowing more voices to represent our veterans community. Bill 71 was another one I co-sponsored with our chair, Councilmember Inaba, on requiring naloxone in our bars and nightclubs across the county. So our vice team, they're responding to fentanyl across the community and across the island. This is one of those preventative measures that we can have in our bars and nightclubs to prevent that, opioid overdose in those areas. Bill 75 is just extending mass transit, the free fare for the next 3 years for the county. So these are some other ones. Councilmember Kimball's going to talk about Bill 103, so I'll save that for her. We've got some other resolutions that may be of interest to you. We talked recently about an audit for the housing and homelessness programs of the county, really looking at the real property taxes that we're all paying, and those monies are being used for housing and homelessness programs, seeing how those are effective. So we'll be looking forward to that audit from the county auditor going forward. And then just some other ones. Bill 113 was an interesting one. This is one that our late Fire Chief Kazuo Todd brought forward to council, really looking at state emergency management agency, some grant monies, look at fire mitigation on the Kohala coastline. So we recently discussed that and moved that forward. So ones that are very active, for all those recent ones, they've moved forward, they've been signed or are currently sitting at the mayor's desk. These are ones that are currently active. So some of these we actually discussed just yesterday in council, whether it was about residential use in our mixed use commercial industrial zone. We have ongoing discussions about the general plan, and we're going to be picking that up again this spring. One that I wanted to highlight here was kind of a set and a grouping of bills brought forward by Councilmember Kirkowitz, 124, 25, 26. I brought this forward because we've had an interesting conversation here. I think the Waimea Community Association is familiar with the design plan within the community, and this is kind of being revitalized and revisited by the Pahoa community. So something to think about and have that conversation here for the Waimea community. Bills 127 and 128, I've co-sponsored both of these with my fellow colleagues. Bill 127 with Councilmember Kirkowitz in the proposing and requesting to create a construction code commission. Not all of us council members are very familiar with construction codes, building codes. So we're looking for to setting up a commission of volunteers that can provide us insight as we go through those updates and those to our building codes here on the county level. Bill 128 with Councilmember Kagiwara introduced, co-sponsored this one. This is establishing a third tier in our residential properties. So these are our non-homeowner occupied. So these are often seen as our second or third tier, third owned homes, kind of investment properties. So establishing a third tier in our real property tax classification. Right now, the real property tax classification for residential properties, the breaking point is at $2 million evaluation. So under $2 million or over $2 million. The third tier would be above, setting the 2 million to 4 million and then above $4 million. So those homes valued much higher, above $4 million. So both those, all of these are in current discussion right now. Be revisiting this in the next couple of weeks as we go through some of these things and revisit conversations about that. So welcome your testimony on these items. Always good to hear from the community on these pieces. Bill 66, as I mentioned, is a general plan. This is one of our guiding vision documents for the county, looking at the next 20 years about how we identify community. What are the community needs? How do we see growth in different areas? Throughout the fall, we talked about all the different chapters within the general plan, except the implementation chapter. But we really discussed the body, the meat and bones of the general plan looking ahead. And this spring, we should be revisiting this with amendments and further deliberation about that. So looking forward to those discussions as well. Just wanted to touch on the budget a little bit. Just give you a snapshot. This is our current year fiscal budget, 25-26. What was in our operating budget? So things that are for general maintenance, our salaries, our wages for the county are $937 million. In our capital budget, these are those one-time expenses or projects, whether it's a major overhaul of a facility or a new facility, new infrastructure, that really sits in the capital budget. Just want to give you that perspective kind of going into the budget as we look ahead, because that's right around the corner. We're going to be expecting the mayor's submission. The mayor first sends his first draft to us. At the end of the month, we're going to be receiving that, see what his proposals are, see the changes, and then have that discussion. So in the middle of April 14th to 17th, council's going to sit down for 4 days, sit with each of the departments, talk about the changes, the challenges, vacancies, all the things that are affecting all of our staff and our employees at the county level. Then we also have within that county, the budget process, because I mentioned there are a couple bills and there are a couple things that could be changing real property tax. We will have an opportunity to look at the real property tax rates for a couple of those. One of them has been in effect for a little while that we need to address is our long-term rental tax class and looking at that one. And then also the one I mentioned that is an active legislation. We'll see where that goes. And that's an opportunity to, change those rates in that area. So this kind of gives you a snapshot of the process of the budget and the dates that are kind of ahead of us in the spring here at the county level. So we're first expecting the mayor's first draft here at the end of the month. We go through that departmental review. Then the mayor sends their second draft after kind of hearing those conversations, working out the other numbers with the finance department. And then we start going into a series where council can kind of act on this. And we hear from the community with public hearings. We have our first reading of the budget, second reading and so forth. So it kind of goes down this line here. Won't go into all this, but these are all the departments we kind of engage with within those 4 days in April and have those conversations with this. So this is really what our 4-day schedule looks like in April and all the different departments that we have that conversation with. So some nice long days, right, Councilmember? One thing that we are considering and that we're very well aware of, we had a tough conversation with the Department of Environmental Management the other day about wastewater. So this is really on the top of mind for us as council members at the county and all departments, especially when we're funding new infrastructure, new projects. This really weighs heavy on a lot of things that we can do going forward. So this is really numbers we have not seen at the county level for investment in our wastewater facilities. I'm wrapping up here on time in just a little bit. I'll pass over to Councilmember Kimball. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things here. Really, with regards to the legislation that I worked on the last calendar year and moving into this next year, affordability is definitely top of mind for me. I'm a part of the ad hoc committee for the affordable housing, looking at reviewing chapter 11 with our county code, looking at affordable housing. I will also be introducing an Aina Kupuna dedication bill, something that we saw on Maui County. So really protecting our generational homes and communities. So excited to bring that forward pretty soon here in the spring. And then also we're gonna be working with Councilmember Kimball on wildfire legislation this spring as well. We're having good conversations about that. Really gonna miss having those conversations with Chief Todd. We have some good leadership in the fire department that we can work with on kind of bringing that forward for the community. Other things on the horizon for us, a lot of community members, nonprofits filed applications for the Buyten grant and aid program. That's something that the council is gonna be reviewing. We have about $2.5 million we typically set aside to support our community nonprofits. Thank you, Auntie Lon. Yeah, so I'll just leave it there with that. The last thing I wanted to mention for our community members that live in the Waikoloa community, civil defense, and a lot of our county agencies, we really like your support on completing the survey. If you live or work in the Waikoloa area, really provide an analysis of the Waikoloa community when it comes to evacuation for that fire risk and prone area. So you can click on that, get that QR code there, can take you to, or go to the waikoloavillage.evacuationsurvey.com to fill out that 5-minute survey. So I'm gonna leave it there and pass it over to my colleague, Councilmember Kimball. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha. Good evening. Nice to see so many friendly faces again. It's been a little while. I feel like I can still say Happy New Year because I didn't see you guys in January. And gosh, I can't believe that this will be the only time until we see you guys at the roundtables for the election. Thanks, James, for that lead-in presentation. I do need to get you an updated photograph. My hair is a little longer now. But I'm gonna talk about a few specific items that James touched on. First of all, Bill 103. We're gonna talk about accessory dwelling units and then an update on where we are with short-term vacation rentals. So starting with Bill 103, can I get a sense in the room of whom I'm speaking to? How many of you, hi Zach, how are you? We used to paddle together. Short mini story. He and I were outside Pui Bay. And I had my phone, I used to put my phone on my canoe on my one man so I could paddle to the jams, and I get a call and my canoe, when I'm getting a call, and he's way ahead. And as that buzz comes, this shark comes by and like I think it was attracted to that buzz and I'm freaking out and I'm like, you remember that? Sorry. All right, how many folks in the room are in the ag dedication program? Or in an ag dedication program? Bill one, okay. All right, well, those of you that have friends then in the ag programs, something that James and I did together was create the Senior Farmer Tax Abatement Program. So you don't look old enough for this yet, but when you hit 65, if you've been in the agricultural dedication program for at least 10 of the last 15 years, instead of going out of the ag program in terms of the assessment of your land value, when you hit retirement age, it'll freeze at that rate. And the goal of that is to really prevent our senior farmers, the people that have been contributing to our food systems for a really long time, from hitting that fiscal cliff that occurs when you go out of the dedication programs and then your land gets assessed at market rate. And so on average, it'll save folks in this program about $1,300 a year in property taxes, because they'll have that assessment value frozen. The nice thing about this program, and you can tell your friends, if you've been in the program and are still in the program and you hit that age criteria, you will not need to do anything. It'll actually just happen automatically. The only time you would have to do anything or you would have to apply is if you've already gotten out of the program, but you still met that 10 of the last 5 years criteria. So if you got out of one of the ag programs 3 years ago, but you had been in it 10 years prior to that, you would still qualify. In that case, because you've already gotten out of it, you will need to apply with the real property tax office. So that passed unanimously through the council. We're very excited to provide that support to our senior farmers. The next item that I wanted to bring up, and I can take questions about that after, is regarding accessory dwelling units. And I wanted to bring it up. We passed this, I think it was before you were on the council, yeah, so it was last term. And the Bill 123 was a bill that we passed that allows up to 3 additional dwelling units on a property by right. It means you have that ability to do that. You look distressed by that. Yes.
Because of the size of the property.
It really depends. So because you can do it by right, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen, right? So in areas where there's not a lot of infrastructure, you can't really get to that 4 dwelling unit type arrangement. And on rural properties, so one of the things that, I maybe want to talk about this tonight is we had somebody come in from this area who will remain nameless that had property that wanted to do an ADU on rural, and they were told by your department that they cannot. That was not correct. You can actually do an ADU on rural property. It's just that you can only do 1 per half acre. And so there are limitations, with respect to that. Similarly, you have to have wastewater for each unit. You have to have 1 wastewater treatment system for every 5 bedrooms. So if you have a 3-bedroom dwelling and a 2-bedroom, you could do it off of 1 individual wastewater system unless you're connected to septic. So there are limitations, and I encourage you, if you want to do an accessory dwelling and to explore some of those options. Water is the other one. On the west side, you're gonna have challenges because you won't have enough rain for catchment, but you can have a ADU attached to catchment. You don't have to connect to municipal water. The reason that we were so ambitious with the accessory dwelling unit approach is that we, the county, can't build all the affordable housing. We need you as the part of the private sector to actually support it by helping us increase density in areas that already have infrastructure, that are already designed for housing. And so by offering this opportunity for people to build homes for their kids, build homes for their in-laws, build homes for their best friend on their property where there's already that infrastructure, that helps us create those housing units we need to bring down the cost overall for people in our community. The last item I wanted to talk about was our short-term vacation rental legislation. So last year we did pass our short-term vacation rental registration program. Now, the purpose of the registration program is to ensure that everybody that is operating a transient vacation rental, this is either hosted, so a bed and breakfast, somebody where there's somebody that lives in a unit, and then, or an unhosted short-term vacation rental, has to register with the county in order to be operating legally. If they don't register with the county, there are fines up to $10,000. We are able now with AI and other technology to scrub VRBO, Airbnb, and determine who's operating where pretty easily now. And as part of this process of passing this registration process, we did a financial analysis. We had an economic study done. What that study indicated was that if all of the short-term vacation rentals that are operating in this county, based on the nightly rates and the rate of occupancy, were paying their fair share of transient accommodation tax and general excise tax, we would have an additional $12 million per year. And that's just the TAT, and an additional $1.5 million of general excise tax. So it's pretty important from a financial side for us to make sure that we have everybody at least paying their fair share of those 2 taxes. So that was implemented. We've delayed the start date out to July 1st, 2026. If you have a short-term vacation rental or someone you know does, that program you will be notified that the program is available, either through the hosting platforms. We have partnerships with VRBO, Airbnb, Expedia, Bookings.com to make sure that they notify the property owners in our area, as well as folks that are currently paying TNG, GET will let you know that the registration is up. We are following that up with a land use bill. So at this point in time, there hasn't been historically any regulation of hosted rentals. Those are rentals where somebody lives on the site. It doesn't have to be your property, but there is somebody that operates the bed and breakfast or the hosted rental. We are actually going to envelop all of those in the bed and breakfast code. So what that means on the surface is if you are operating a hosted rental now, you're in the residential area, nothing. It's actually not going to change anything for you because we're going to remove the requirement for a use permit. The only area that gets tricky is if you own state agricultural land. So if your land is on state land use ag specifically, and there are 3 kinds of state land use, urban, rural, and ag, right? And so if you're on state land use ag, your dwellings are considered farm dwellings. And state law requires that somebody be living in a farm dwelling that is tied to the agricultural activities. And so if you have a hosted rental, you have to live in it. If it's in a farm dwelling, you can rent out the other rooms. That's how we're interpreting it. But you're gonna have to come in for a use permit so that we can ensure that there is agricultural activities tied to that farm and that dwelling. That's the overview on that. I have 1 minute left, but I think I will add that minute to our question time, which I think James and I would both appreciate to have more time to answer questions. So James, come on up and join me. Thank you.
I'm curious, how many people are taking advantage of the ADU opportunity?
I don't have a lot of great numbers for you, but we are getting quite a few inquiries. The challenge definitely over here on the west side, on the Bear side, is the water issue because the catchment is just not gonna be sufficient and then there isn't access to the water, but we are seeing a lot of inquiries, yes.
I know you mentioned the line in the sand was 0.5 acres. Is that rounding up or rounding down? Someone's 0.75, does that round up to 2, or is it has to be a full acre?
If you're talking about the rural usage and it's one dwelling per half acre. So if you had 0.75 acres, you'd only be able to do one.
Is Kohala Ranch considered state agricultural land? And if so, what's involved getting this?
I believe it is. What is involved in getting a use permit is an application through the planning department. It is a $500 application fee. You do need to provide certain information with respect to available parking, the health and safety requirements for the dwelling. We are building in, just so you know, a year-long grace period for people to get those use permits if they are operating on an agricultural property. The application does have to be approved for a bed and breakfast does need to be approved by the planning commission of the relevant jurisdiction. I'm not sure if Kohala Ranch is before or after 1976. When was it subdivided? Do you know when it was subdivided? Anybody? After? Okay, post 1976. Okay, in that case, yes, what I'm telling you is accurate. If you're pre-76, it's a little bit of a different story because that first dwelling is considered a single family dwelling, so you don't need to use permit for that.
Thank you for coming tonight to Waimea. On the ADU, the water issue, is there any relief down the line? And what is the issue with the water?
Master.
Some of the water challenges are just investment in infrastructure. I think a lot of you as residents of Waimea know that we have, for example, a reservoir that has not been repaired. So there are those intricate pieces that we have not made that, in my mind, we have not made that the proper investment in some of those systems, especially when we're trying to meet community demand and community growth. We are gonna have to match that. So that's my perspective on it. If you look at some of our North Kohala residents, they live on still some old plantation lines. So we have investment to go all around this more infrastructure and opportunity for developing those spaces. You know, I know it doesn't really answer that, but those are some limitations when we're talking about ADU. It's really infrastructure limitations, whether it's the cost of a new septic system for people, or there's lack of water in those areas, someone has to build a catchment. Some of these are limiting factors on what someone can develop on their property for sure.
I'll add to that, there are some policy constraints as well. So for example, in areas where there is sufficient water, DWS is disinclined to do more than 1 meter per lot. So we're trying to work with them a little bit. And I mean, we all have the same objective to increase density where there's already density, making sure that if building happens where there's infrastructure rather than converting open land for housing. So we're working a little bit with DWS. Of course, we don't have a jurisdiction over a Department of Water Supply. That's the Water Board. Colin is not here. You have a new Water Board member from here. Was he here? Okay, so talk to him. Oh, there you are. Okay. GWS, water meters, ADUs. I'm counting on you. Thank you.
But that's one of those, boards and commissions that we have at the county level. The Department of Water Supply kind of sits semi-autonomous, separate of the county, at large. But we do put members of community on a board that help guide those rates, guide policy within the Department of Water Supply. So those are representatives of the community that we also partner and work with on some of those policies.
Are you looking for any suggestions on boards and commissions for District 9?
For District, I know you probably have some for District 1 too, but District 9, yes, there are always vacancies for boards and commissions across the county. And you have to live within those geographic areas, within those council district areas. For District 9, we're looking for someone for the Leeward Planning Commission, actually. This is a very heavy lift. Someone with some about land use and policies. It's an important role there for sure. There are a number of other ones too that are countywide as well. But encourage you to take a look at the mayor's website on some of those boards and commissions there.
And we need, District 1 needs a CDP Action Committee members. So yeah, we have at least 3 or 4 vacancies there.
Question here.
What can the county council do to help the people that have fallow lands get the lands back into production? And can they put like an trailer home on the property? Be like a dwelling unit for the people that are running the farm?
So, you want to start? Okay, as far as a mobile unit, right now I will be very quick. You have to affix the unit to the ground in some way. So you can wheel it there, but it has to be ultimately fixed to the ground in order to be permitted within the county on the ag land. There has been discussion about some micro grants for farmers. There's been some available through the state. I think that grant period is already over. But we don't have anything other than if that micro grant program starts, I don't know if that likelihood of that with our budget right this year. That's the only thing I can think of that we have to help farmers start out of fallow. I think you gotta look at the state and the DOA for that.
And you get a property tax waiver if you wanted to.
The new ag tax program, sorry, again, allows 1 year out of 3 fallow, and you can still remain in the agricultural dedication, or 3 out of 10 year fallow. So you can have fallow periods and still take advantage of the agricultural tax rates.
All right, last question here, sorry, real quick. Is there anything coming up on charters on the ballot this year that we should know about through you guys?
I have one more coming, but I can't talk about it because James is here. I'll tell you after.
Okay, all right.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Sorry, just want to share on the boards and commissions, please do reach out to Heather Kimball and myself. If you're interested in serving on a county board or commission, we'll be here to talk to her later. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our last presenters this evening, we have David Griffin, Program Manager with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, here to provide us status update on the Waikoloa maneuver area, the potential for unexploded ordnance. They have a project starting at the Waimea Airport that they want to share along with the educational 3 Rs. So David is Barbara Martinez, Project Manager, Ben Konchak. You people have 10 minutes.
All right, thank you. A little bit height challenge here, right? Aloha, everyone. Again, just make this a little bit interactive. Can I see a show of hands of people that are familiar with the Waikoloa maneuver area? Okay, maybe 30% of the room, and that's great because that is the feedback I get from the community, right? Is what is the Waikoloa maneuver area? I bought a house here, nobody told me about it. And so we are out in the communities, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, really trying to bring people up to speed on what's going on. at the Waikoloa Maneuver area. The couple of photos in this picture is typically when the community sees us. That top picture, we're either out collecting data, or that lower picture, we're out in the community at community events, interacting with your friends and neighbors to kind of spread the education about the 3 R's of munitions safety. Next slide, please. Okay, so I've got 80 years of history, 15 slides and 10 minutes to get it done. And so we're gonna kind of go through these pretty quick. Takeaway from this is the Waikoloa Maneuver area was extensively used, but was only used from 1943 to 1945. The military maintained a presence here at the Commonwealth Firing Range and other places, but the bulk of the training, really all of the training, took place between 1943 and 1945 under either a lease agreement or a licensing agreement with Richard Smart Parker Range. Next slide, please. So these are just the two, oops, back one, please. This is just the two different areas, right? The yellow was one license area. And then those of you that lived through our public outreach on the expanded boundary is what the archivist found later, and actually expanded it from about 100,000 acres to right about 185,000 acres. Next slide, please. So again, heavily used from 1943 to 1945. If you look at the yellow and purple areas, those were the old ranges, right? So that's down at Waikoloa Village. That's south of Kauai High Road. The area east of Maumaloa Highway was maneuver area, not extensively used. And then that area out to the far right with the red boundary on it was found to have no evidence of use. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is a formally used defense site? We call it the WMA FUDs. It was used, it was something that was used by the DoD prior to 17 October 1986. Extra credit for somebody who knows why that date is important. So that's when the Superfund Reauthorization Act was passed under CERCLA. And CERCLA is the laws and regulations that we work under. Obviously, this one was used, but other properties that you'll see later were used after that date and don't fall within the FUDs program. For used by the defense, one of the things that they left behind was ammunition, which shown in the upper. They again extensively used a number of small percentage of those. 8% of those did not go off as designed. Again, prior to Superfund, prior to the EPA, when the DoD left the Big Island, a number of these munitions were left behind, and that's what we're doing out here now is cleaning them up. That lower picture is Camp Tarawa. That is the footprint of Waimea town right now to show you kind of how expansive the camp was when the Navy was here. Next slide, please. So this is our current boundary. We have, again, 100,000 acres inside that yellow boundary, 22 munitions response sites, 22 individual projects within the WMA program. And all inclusive, that's considered a munitions response area, again, made up of 22 projects. At any given year, we are actively working on between probably 5 and 7 of those. I get calls from your friends and neighbors about why have we slowed down our cleanup at WMA? Why aren't we doing more? I got a slide on that later, and I'll tell you, we haven't slowed down. We got our pedal to the metal out here working, trying to get these munitions cleaned up. Next slide, please. Okay, so about a year ago, I gave a presentation at a National Munitions Conference, and it was called Everything You Need to Know About Running a Successful Program You Learn Playing Legos, right? So I don't know if you can see that book, but Lego, they don't use words to describe the process to take a pile of bricks and build it into something that people would recognize. Next slide, please. So our playbook is CERCLA. We operate under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act. It is very structured steps going from preliminary assessment through long-term management And if, as long as we complete each of those steps, we get to what is called response complete. We have crossed the finish line and either have a record of decision that no further action is required, or we go into long-term management. Next slide, please. This is CERCLA WMA. We color coded for the community so you can kind of follow along where our projects are at that process. I want to call your attention to that black rectangle under the red and orange thing. Those are called removal actions. And if you can see, although they happen within the CERCLA process, they are outside the CERCLA process. So in other words, we started in 1993 out here. We spent a lot of time in that black rectangle and never really moved the ball. We reduced risk. We picked up a lot of munitions, but we didn't get to the green. We didn't get to cross the finish line and collect our bean, if you will. So next slide, please. These are the projects that we are currently working on, and you can see kind of green is good, right? So Pu'ukapu, which is our project 15, as well as areas A and G down in the south. We have completed records of decisions on those for no evidence of use, no further action, no environmental liability goes along with those properties. The other ones that are in orange are in the RIFS phase, pretty much the beginning phase of CERCLA, and the yellows are in either remedial design or remedial action. Again, as we push our way through the process. Next slide, please. So anyway, technological advances. Those of you that have lived in the community used to see guys out basically swinging metal detectors, like you might see someone looking for treasures down at the beach. Now we have advanced geophysical classification, numbers of sensors. I think this has 21 sensors on it. Ben Konchak is a geophysicist with us in the audience. Happy to talk about this afterwards. But again, as the technology's changed, we have changed along with it. Next slide, please. So, kind of what are some of our challenges, right? It's a big area. It's 100,000 acres. We clean it sort of 1 acre at a time. We have to follow the CERCLA process. That is a long, complicated process. Once you're in a Superfund site, they say it's about 20 years from the time you identify the property to the first shovel hits the ground, right? We got 22 projects. That's some pretty good job security there. It's not taking us that long, but for a number of you in the community, it feels that way. Existing housing, Waimea, Waikoloa has grown up on the munition response area. And now we have to go house to house, really. It's not open field running like it is at a lot of the Parker Ranch or open lands where we can get in there and get our job done. And then geology here also makes it difficult at times for us to differentiate iron-rich geology from metal items. Next slide, please. So this is in response to, why aren't you, cleaning up? If you go back, right, when we were doing that work in removal area, that goes back to the 90s, right? We didn't really start moving the needle until, the mid 2020s, if you will, when we closed Project 1 and Project 19, Sector 15. And you can see that is our forecast to get to 100%, right? To take everything through the CERCLA process is going to take us out past 2050. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, big piece of this is that we are out doing community outreach. We have an email list, constant contact list. Barb Martinez, our outreach specialist, maintains that. We're out in your community at community events. We go to the schools. I see some of the kids here. We're going to talk about 3 Rs here in a minute. And really, we work with the children and the adults in the community to get the message about munition safety out, because we go out and we do the best we can to clean it up, but we cannot guarantee absolute zero. We can get as close as we can get down to the 0.00000 something, but we can't guarantee that we've gotten absolutely everything out of the ground. So we do a 3 Rs program. Next slide, please. So this is it, right? Recognize that metallic item does not belong in the environment. Retreat, don't pick it up, don't put it in your car. Don't take it to Royville Air and say, hey, Captain, look what I found, while I was out hiking today. Leave it where it's at. Don't approach it. Take a picture of it. Call 911. His staff is fantastic. We collaborate with them, cooperate with them. They'll come out. They'll call us.
we get a call, we call them and we really look at it together. Next slide, please. So here's our contact information. You can join our mailing list. We'll be here after the meeting to talk to folks if we run out of time. You can also get on our website because the biggest thing is just getting information out to the community. And so we look to push and pull information. My information is that's my phone number, 4079. So I get a lot of calls from the community about what's going on, and I'm happy to take those calls, right? If you're mad that we're not working fast enough or what have you, give me a call and let me know, and I will try to respond back to you. I think I probably got 15 seconds left, and I'm gonna boost the police next community activity. I was at the Sugar Shakedown. What a great event that was. I don't know whose idea that was, but we were invited to participate. We had a chance to meet with the children, talk to the children, go table to table, as well as their parents. So I can't imagine what Valentine's Day is gonna be like, but what a great idea. And I'm done. Boom, made it.
David,
Yes.
did you talk about the project at the airport?
Okay, I did not. Actually, Nancy specifically called me and asked me to talk about the project at the airport. So we do have a project coming up at the airport. One of the things we do is when we go in and complete and get to that long-term monitoring phase, every 5 years we go back and check to see if anything's changed, land use has changed, anything we didn't know about before. So during our last 5-year review, when the team came out and looked specifically at the airport parcel, we realized that due to GIS error with the databases, we had missed 11 acres out there on the south, or on the west side of Mamaloa Highway. So we will be working out there to do a remedial action, taking all our equipment out there. When we're done with that project will go to response complete. And we'll get kind of to collect our bean and be in the green on that one. And so we should be, we're not gonna be out there that long. We're not gonna be closing roads. It should be a fairly quick project to get in and out. And then we have, again, the circle of projects that we showed you guys in the color coded things. We have a big project coming up that we're gonna award next year to work down in Waikoloa Village. And then unfortunately for the folks that live along Kauai High Road and have had us out in your yards and neighborhoods for the last 3 years, we do have a subset of acres that we do need to go back to out there and drag our equipment out. So again, I apologize in advance for that, but safety is our first priority. And if we're not 100% or we missed some acres, we do have to come back and take another look at them.
Questions? Go ahead, Chris.
We have one question from online, from one of our viewers. Who is responsible for testing the soils for contaminants in relation to possible dust mitigation around the homes?
Okay, so the main contamination is the munition, right? And so what we're looking for is intact, unexploded ordnance. Because there was metal in the ground, you could have a subset of that, which is munitions constituents, which are typically heavy metals associated with the munition itself, just degrading just the metal going into time. Due to the age of these, we really don't see the munition RDX or any of the explosive compounds left in the environment. They have degraded. And so what we're looking for is metals and the munition itself. And years ago, I think in 2013, we did a big munitions constituent sampling where we went around to different areas within 100,000 acres, collected samples, mostly really down in the impact area, because that's the worst case scenario. That's where the most munitions use was, and we really didn't find residual contamination.
Thanks, Chris. Great presentation. I just wanted to give a shout out to your team. A year or two ago, you were in our yard. We gave you the right of entry. We had no problem with that. We had a great experience. You guys were in and out. Anybody who's hesitant about giving you that right of entry, I just would say it's a flipping free bomb inspection, people. I mean, let these guys onto your yard. We have 2 kids, you know, I'm always digging holes in my yard. I'm happy to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. And, you know, I really do appreciate that, right? I've had the black helicopters. No one in the government's ever going to be allowed in my yard. But I do appreciate the success stories, right? Because that is my one ask. and I'm gonna give a shameless plug, we have a semi-annual Restoration Advisory Board meeting, and we alternate between Waimea and Waikoloa. And the ask is, from some of the more, how can the community help you? You know, how to get your job done? And I would tell you, it's stories like that. We need right of entry. We need to be able to get on the property with our equipment to do that work. And literally, they wanted me to name names on the holdout so the community could go down there and knock on the door. So I do, and then, you know, just how we can better our outreach. I mean, we have a dedicated person to that, but we need to be able to get information into the community. Now, I appreciate everybody being here tonight, because we hold meetings at night and we might get 4 people because it's after work and we got bed, bath and book. We got get dinner on the table. You know, why don't you hold them during the day? We hold them during the day and they say, listen, everybody's got to work, you know, why don't you hold them at night? And so we really are, you know, whatever works for the community, we're here for you, right? We will partner with you. You know, somebody likes to say, yeah, but they're your bombs. Well, I wasn't even born when these things were, you know, and I'm an old man. I'm a broke down old man. And I wasn't here, but they are my responsibility, right? I didn't put them there, but it's my responsibility to get them cleaned up as effectively and efficiently as possible. I got one more plug for this community. Time is our most precious commodity, right? And to see the interest that you people have to freely volunteer your time to come to community meetings like this, it just really, you know, warms my heart to see how engaged you people are in your community. And we're happy to be a part of that community. And I've only been running the program for a couple of years, but I actually see familiar faces in this crowd. So thank you very much for giving your time to the Waikoloa Community Association, Waimea Community Association, and to your fellow neighbors. Thank you. And we're going to stick around. So if you have questions, please feel free to sit down.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that update. And he's right. This is an awesome community and we thank you all for being here. Telling you about next month, March 5th, we will be here again. And we will have the state DOT director, Ed Sniffen, will be here to talk about roads and harbors and airports. And we also invited the county DPW deputy, Neil Azevedo, will also be here so that he can clarify with some county road issues, because it's always confusing for some people what's county and what's state. So we'll have them both here and we hope you'll join us then. Please be safe going home and please take cupcakes on the way out and please take flyers from the people that took the time to bring them here. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you, David.